Can we create a new project for this lab? File, new, Java projects. CSE114, Spring 17, week 04, lab number 2, okay, for today. And then finish. Let's have a class, new, and then Java class. Let's call it maybe simple arrays. I'm going to show you different syntax here. And then with the main method here, and you can say finish. Okay. Okay, let's now try. How can we declare array? Okay, let me show you the syntax now. As I said before, within a single array, you can only store data of the same type. Okay, let's try. If I say string, string is a type. If I want to declare an array of string type, you gotta say string followed by left brackets, right brackets, empty. Okay. You know what? I'll write it down first on the board. We will say string. So this is the type, and then let's say SA string array. Okay. So you have two different ways of creating it. I'll say SA1, and then I'll do another SA2. Okay. We'll try both. SA1 is assigned to something, right? So you can think of this. Before, just compare it. If I say integer I is assigned to 2, we know that very well. Something, the notation is consistent. String is a type. String with empty pair of brackets is also a type. It's a different type. It's an array of strings rather than just a single string. So there are different ways we can initialize an array, like how we initialize the integer. One way is I can say curly brackets over here, and let's put a semicolon here. Okay, curly brackets. Because we know each element in the array is a string, why don't we try the one we did in the morning? A, comma, B, and C, and then D. So what we're doing here is, let me draw on the board, we essentially created an array called SA1. SA1 is basically an array. It's pointing to an array. And because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 elements there, so it has 4. The size is 4. Indices 0, 1, 2, 3. And then A, B, C, D. Okay, that's what we have done. Let's try a few things before I show you the second way of creating an array. Let's try this. I can say, for example, system.out.println. I can say the size of array SA1 is. So the syntax is we can say the name of the array SA1 dot length. And do not put any parentheses here. Do not. Okay, just dot length. Just say that. Okay. So this will tell us the size of the array SA1 is 4, because we got 4 strings over there, right? Let's try to make sure that's the case. And we have size of array SA1 is 4. Okay, that was easy. So now let's learn about how we can access the contents of the array. Okay. So the way to access the array content will be by using the square brackets, right? As I said in the morning. So you can say, for example, I can say the name of the array is SA1. I want to go to position 0, and this will give me A, right? String A. If I say SA1 at position 2, that will give me C. Okay, let's try. So system.out.println. Let's say elements at index 0 in SA1 is, okay, let's write out the expression. SA1 is the name of the array. We put square brackets there, and then we specify the number. In this case, position 0. So whenever you got index 0, that's always the first element in the array, right? Because indices always start with 0, always the case. And let's double check to make sure it's really A. Okay, let's try. You have elements at index 0 in SA1 is A. Let's do something similar, okay? Just copy this line here. We're going to change, okay? 2, 3, 4, okay? At index 1, index 2, index 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so good? And now, if you just launch again, you will see A, B, C, D. Okay, easy. Let me show you another special one. How do you, so here you can see the last index is 3, and the size is 4, exactly size minus 1, as I explained in the class today, because index always start with 0. Okay, let's try this one as well. How about we have another printout line here? I would say last elements. Last elements in SA1. We know that it should be D, right? But now let's change the integer expression a little bit. Rather than 3, let's say SA1 dot length minus 1. We know that SA1 dot length will be 4. 4 minus 1 will be 3. That will be equivalent to this line here. Okay, the same, like that. Okay, let's launch the program and see what happened. Okay, last element there is D, just the same as the previous one. Okay, let's try another one. What if I say another assistant out of print line? Element at index, what about 4? You may be curious about trying this, right? So now let's try. As you can see there, there's no index 4 in the diagram. Let's try to see if your computer really crash. It does crash, okay? So this is something you will see quite often later on. You can see that there's something called array index out of bounds exception. Exception in Java simply means your computer crashes with some errors. We'll talk about exception maybe in the last few weeks in this course. So I would say for now, whenever you get index out of bound exception, that means you're trying to use an index that's outside the bounds of the array, which is between 0 and size minus 1. That's the bounds, okay? Let me try another way to crash it, okay? Just show you. So I can also say this. Elements at index, what about, I'll just say length. So now rather than having this one, let's say SA.length. You can see there's no minus 1 here, right? Or SA1. Like this. If you compare this, which is SA1.length minus 1, this one here is without the minus 1, which will give me 4, right? And 4 again is not a valid index, so that will also crash. Okay? So this will also crash. Okay? That's also index out of bound. It tells you that you give 4, but 4 is not defined. Okay? Okay, I'll just make a comment for you. So these two lines crash because of invalid indices. Okay, any questions so far? No? Okay. Now let's try a loop on the array. Now the next thing to try will be array. Okay? The most natural thing to try the next step will be an array. How do we iterate through an array? How do we go element by element? The way to do it is by using the indices. Because the indices here are integers. So we can say, what about we initialize a loop counter I with 0. Go one by one until some certain upper bound. If we start with 0, in this case, we know that the last one we should go to will be size minus 1, right? So now why don't we try? So that's really the standard way of accessing the array. Let's try this. Let me just hit enter here. Okay, so now let's say we say for loop, integer I is assigned to 0. Because indices always start with 0. Always the case, no exception. Okay, now for the state condition, I'll show you both two versions, which will both work. How about this one first? I less than or equal to. You know that the maximum index you can get would be the size minus 1. So we should write it here, right? SA1 dot length minus 1. I plus plus. Did I say I already? Oh, can we just get rid of this? Okay, it's clash. I don't intend to do that. Okay, just that. Okay. So now, what about just print out the elements of the array? System.out.println. Let's say SA1 at position I. So you can see now the most important part is to see this over here. SA1, you can see the integer expression there. I don't really give a concrete value like a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. I give the loop counter I. Because we know that in each iteration, the i's value is going to change. The first time 0. Second time incremented from 0 to 1. And then incremented to 2, etc. Right? So that'd be 0, 1, 2, 3 in this case. Okay. So that's why I can put it like that. Okay, let's try. You'll get A, B, C, D, like this. Okay, that's how you iterate through an array and print out everything. I'll show you an alternative way to write the state condition. Okay, whichever you go, doesn't matter. Okay, let me just copy this line here, make a comment, just put it here. Okay, so now another way to do it is I'm going to get rid of this equal sign over here, and then get rid of minus 1. They mean the same thing mathematically. This one simply means I'm going to stay as long as I is strictly less than the size of the array. So when do we exit? Exit means I is larger than or equal to SA1.length, which means we'll exit when we get to the size of the array, which is 4. And 4 is not a valid index, so that's the right timing to actually exit from the loop, right? So both versions work. However, let me show you two versions that wouldn't work, but you should know why each one of them didn't work. Okay, let's try this version here. What about if I say for integer I is equal to 0, I less than or equal to SA1 dot length, I plus plus. Okay, let me make a comment here. Works. Okay, I'm having some extra brackets. Yes, this one here. Okay, look at line number 20. Why would it not work? How? Yeah, actually, since like when I is exactly equal to SA1.length, it will still satisfy the state condition there, right? In this case, we know the length of the array is 4. So I can be 4. In this case, yeah, that would fail. Yes. Okay, let's try this one here. Okay, it will fail. You can see that when I gets to 4, it will actually fail. Okay, I'll write it down for you here. You can fail because I can get to SA1 dot length, which is not a valid index. Okay? Always the maximum index we get to will be SA1.length minus 1. Okay? This one doesn't work because it will crash. What about I say crash? Crash. Because you can get to the some undefined index. Let me try another one for you. Okay, put this into comments. So now let me try this one. For integer I, 0, I less than Okay. What's wrong with this one? I can tell you it wouldn't work. But it wouldn't crash. Let's plug in the example here. SA1, the length is 4 over here, right? It's 4. We say that I must be strictly less than 4 minus 1, which is 3. If I is strictly less than 3, which means I can never get to 3 and get print out. Which means, although it wouldn't crash, but we wouldn't get the result we want. We will never print this out. Okay, that's why. It wouldn't crash, but it's a logical error. Okay. Let's try this. You will only get ABC without the last one. Okay, so now I'll document that for you. Not crash, but the last element is missing. Again, you should really know why. Okay, I'll just keep all the versions for you so you can look at them later. Let's just go back to the first version that worked. Okay, just this one. Again, I show you 2 working versions and 2 non-working versions. You should really know them well. Okay. Any questions up to now? No? Are we okay? Okay. Let me show you the second way of creating an array. The second way, which we might use more often than the first way. But the first way is the most obvious. You can just create array by, you can see, let me just go back to the beginning over here. You can see that the way we create the array is by explicitly telling the program what the contents should be. A, and then B, and then C, and then D. Okay? So now I'm going to show you another way to do it, which you will need it. Okay? Not for assignment 3, but maybe later assignments. You'll need it. Okay. Can we just create another, can we rename this class, actually, to simple arrays 1? I can create another version for you. Okay? You can right-click on this class name here, go to refactor, and go to rename. Let's rename that to simple arrays 1. Okay? And then continue to confirm. Okay? Let's go back to Package Explorer here, and then right-click, new, and then class. Simple arrays 2. Okay? And then main method, finish. Let's have a different way of initializing the array. Okay, this one is a little bit more interesting. Okay. So now, in the first way, in the previous version, we know exactly what to be stored in the array initially. But sometimes you may not know. You may just have to get your array ready. And the user may say, I'm going to store A in position 1, in B in position 2, etc. Okay. That might be the case. So now how do we do that? So now the way to do this, again, this is how we declare an array, string, and the empty square brackets. Okay, let me make a comment here for you. So this is the type of string array. If you simply say string, it's the type of strings. So both of them mean different things. With the curly, with the square brackets or without, they mean something completely different. Okay, let's see how we can do the second way. You can say, I want a string array. Let's call it SA. Just SA, okay? And now for SA here, there's some syntax you have to learn just for now, okay? And we're going to talk about objects in about 2 weeks. Okay? After loops and after some API of Java, we'll talk about objects. So we'll get there. So now you can say new. Basically copy this string and square brackets, and now we gotta specify the size of the array. So one special thing about the array is you have to give the initial size of the array. You don't normally resize the array. You don't do that. In 214 we might do that, but in 114 normally not. So now we want to say the size. Let's just try this one. How about we want the size to be 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Just 4. Just 4 over here, okay? And what does this do? This creates an array of size 4. However, all contents are unknown because we haven't specified them yet. Okay, I'll wait for you to type. I want to make one more comment back to the previous version, so you can see both. Okay, can we just go back to the simple arrays 1? Can we just make a comment in the first line over here? Okay, the version 1. This creates an array of size 4 as well. But the difference is all the contents are known already, A, B, C, D. Okay. I will show you from the debugger. Okay, that's important to see that. Version 1 and version 2. Okay. Can we just go to, let me just do one more thing. Okay, can you go back to the latest version here? Let's just print out the size of this array. Okay, just to see. Okay, system.out.println. Size of array SA is SA.length. Okay, that should be 4, size 4. That one is fine. Let's try. Size 4. Okay, so now I want to show you something in the debugger. Can we just go to version 1 over here? Can we put a breakpoint in line number here, right before we execute this line? Okay, this line here. Put a breakpoint there, and let's run a debugger and see what happens. If you run a debugger here, so now we stop at this line here, right? So now you can see that in the variables panel here, nothing's here yet because we haven't executed this line yet. Okay. Now watch what's going to happen here. When I say step over, it is going to create a variable over here called SA1. Okay. Let's say step over here, SA1. Okay. But now I want to show you more. Double click on this. SA1, you can expand. You can see there's a triangle over here. If you expand, it tells you what each contents is. Each element is. You can see SA1 at position 0, we got A. SA1 at position 1, we got B. SA1 at position 2, we got C, and etc. Right? So that's the first version. That's what I meant by the contents are known already after executing that line. But in version 2, we wouldn't see A, B, C, D. We wouldn't see that just yet. Okay, let's stop the debugger. Okay, stop here, and then go back to Java perspective here. Go to version 2. Now we want to do the same thing to see what the contents should be for SA in version 2. Can we put a breakpoint here? Right before we execute this line. Over here. Okay. Over here. So now let's debug. So now we stop at this line over here. Debug, right. Let me just double click on this so it's back. Okay. Okay, we're at this line here. So now let's predict what's going to happen. If I say step over, it is going to create an array of size 4, but all the contents are simply not known. We haven't specified the contents yet. Let's see what's going to happen. And you can see the variables here. We haven't created the array yet. If I say step over, what I get is SA, right? Let's see what SA is. We used to get A, B, C, D in the previous version, but what about this version here? If I expand it, it's something called null. Okay? As far as we're concerned at the moment, null simply just means unknown. Okay? But null has a special meaning in Java. But we will talk about it when we talk about objects, but not yet. For now, whenever you see null, that simply means the value is simply not known. Simply unknown. Okay? For now. So you can see now at position 0, it is null, and actually at all the positions, they are simply null. Okay, nothing is known yet. But how do we assign something to array? Basically, the same way as we did for other variables. Let me show you. Okay, let me just stop the debugger. If you go back to debugger here, stop that. Okay, and go back to Java editor. So now, how do we assign values to array? It's not that difficult actually. So now, you can say assign string A to position, let's say to index 0 in SA. Okay, let's try to see how we can do this in Java. SA is the array. I want to go to position 0, like that. Now I want to assign a particular value to this position. I can say assign to this particular position A. That's how you do it. Okay? On the other hand, if you say something like this, SA is assigned to A, that is wrong, because you're trying to assign a string into an array. So that's not good. You're trying to assign a string to a particular position in the array. Okay? Cannot assign a string to a string array. They are not compatible. Can we do the rest to do B, C, and D? Okay. Why don't you try for 30 seconds? Okay. I want to assign. Let's do a diagram here. Okay. For position 2. To begin with, we got SA, and then it's an array of size 4. 0, 1, 2, 3. As we saw in the debugger, it simply got null to begin with. Simply unknown. Okay, simply null. What I just did was, when I say SA at position 0 is assigned to A, which is a string, I basically replace this value here by A. That's what I did. Can you do the same thing? I want to replace position 1 by B, position 2 by C, position 3 by D, so that SA is exactly the same as SA1. Okay. Can you do that for just 30 seconds? Okay. That should be rather easy. Very similar to what I did in line 14. I think today I'll go very slowly, just to introduce you to the array. We'll go a little bit faster on Tuesday. Okay. Okay, let's see. Let me be a little bit lazy here. I'll just do some copy and paste. 1, 2, and 3. A, B, C, and D. Right? That should be very easy here. And of course, if you run the same loop, you try to run the loop and try to see what's going to be the contents for this particular array, you can do the same. Okay, I just wouldn't repeat that. Okay. Any questions until now? Okay. What about a very simple exercise here? After line 17, what we get is this. A, B, C, and then D. Okay, that's what we get. And let's just print it out. Okay, I do want to show you one more thing before I go to the next exercise. Can we just print it out? Okay, I'll write a loop very quickly. So for integer I is equal to the minimum index, which is always 0. I less than or equal to the maximum index, which will be sa.length minus 1. Okay, I plus plus. Okay, so now let's say system.out.println, and then I will say SA at position I. Okay, let's just double check. That would be ABCD. Okay, now I want you to do something here. Do something here, and then I want you to copy and paste this particular loop, the same. I want it to be identical. Copy this and paste it here, the same. Currently, if I try this, I'll simply get ABCD, ABCD, right? I want you to change the array in a way I will get DCBA, the reverse. How would you do it? Do something here such that the contents print out is D, C, B, and A. Okay. How would you reassign the elements here such that it will be D, C, B, A? Don't change the loop. I want the loop to be identical. Okay? How can you change the contents of the array so that if I do the same print out, it's going to print D, C, B, A from the beginning to the end. So somehow you can imagine I have to change somehow this content here to be D, this to be C, this to be B, this to be A, right? That's what you can do. Each slot of the array can always be changed if you want to. They're not fixed. Okay? They're like variables. Yeah, just try for 1 minute, and then I'll go over that very quickly, and then we'll do other exercises. Okay, done? Okay, how do we do that? It's incredibly easy. If we want that, SA0 at index 0 is reassigned to D. That's it. Maybe you were thinking too complicated. Maybe. D, C, B, A. That's it. So I simply just replace the content here by D, C, B, A. Right? After this, if I run the same loop from left to right, I'm going to get D, C, B, A. Let's try. A, B, C, D, D, C, B, A. Okay? Any questions up to now? Okay, we got about 20 minutes left. I want to show you a slightly more complicated example here. And now we're going to, given that we understand the array a little bit, so now I want to do a little bit more complicated example to show you how we can manipulate that. I don't think I'll get to the exercise today. That one might be still way too challenging for you. I'll leave that until Tuesday. I'll do that on Tuesday. I want to do another example. Okay, just take a 2 minutes break, and then we'll start the exercise, okay?